mill existed. I took off the handle, and here is, let me see what, okay, here's the handle, and that's the size sprocket bore that you're going to need for your mill. So when the handle comes off, that's what you're trying to mimic with your sprocket. For example, this is a sprocket I got that the bore is obviously too small. You'll also see this little, what they call a keyway, is too small. That I filed to make big enough for the key that sits in the Pepe. The Pepe key was also shorter, so I bought this little box of extra keys to get a longer piece, and it's a 6 millimeter is what I had in my Pepe rolling mill. But this gives you an idea of a sprocket. This one has, I think, 21 teeth, but the hole was too small, and when I tried to return to Amazon, they just said keep it. So if anybody has that size bore, the first person that asks for it that pays shipping, I'll send you this one if you want it. I'll have to look up what size that is. So sprocket here after you pull off the handle, and it has two little fixed set screws to hold it on. This, let me see if I can get in here so you can see this. This had, the size of the hole needed was in between the sizes I could get. So I did fit 2 sheets of copper in here for a tighter fit. And then this, like I said, the larger keyway that I filed to fit what Pepe came with, but this one's slightly longer. As you can see, it sticks out, but it also goes all the way back, and I can keep an eye on it. So that is what's necessary there. This motor I found on eBay, and I'm going to try and zoom in on the label. That's what works for me. It may not be great for everybody. The key is, well, the horsepower is only 1/9 horsepower, but I wanted a higher torque and a lower RPM because ChatGPT told me that's what I need for what I'm doing, which the speed I need is not great. I just need it to be strong. So that's the motor. I did turn, it came with a mounting plate and everything and the little arm. This mounting plate was actually designed for an original for a horizontal install. I loosened the 4 bolts on each side and just quarter turned it so I could mount it vertically. And then again in the back, let's see if I can go around here. You've got another sprocket there. This measured perfectly. The keyway fit perfectly. Slid it on. Did the set screws. That was great. These are number 40 sprockets and a number 40 roller chain. You can also kind of see how the what's it called? The mounts. These, like I said, I just undid these. I didn't take these plates off. I undid them and turned them a quarter and redid them. The motor did not come with any housing for the electrical wires. So that's why I just got the rigged up Home Depot box. But you can buy the box that goes here. The box is it's a metal electrical box from Home Depot. The reason this looks like this, and gosh, I wish I could, if you saw what was in here, you'd understand why I don't want to untape it. This doesn't even, it has to be taped to hold it on. And I had to bore the hole in here a little bigger to fit this. And it's a little wonky just because nothing lines up perfectly because this box is still a hair too small. What's in there is a tiny little capacitor that's the size of like, I don't know, 3 little boxes of matches. And the capacitor and then the switch is a little bigger and has 9 connections. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to be able to go forward and backward. I won't use backwards often, but if something ever got stuck in there, I want to be able to turn it off. There's a hair. Oh, that's annoying. I want to be able to turn it off and hit and reverse. I have it unplugged now so I don't knock anything accidentally. So the parts list was so much. I didn't include electrical tape on there because that's not like even these little things. Underneath on the bottom of this box, there was one of these plugs. Well, it was actually wasn't in there. It was just a hole. What I did to secure this is I measured it and I just screwed one of these plugs on there. And then I twisted this, what is that, counterclockwise, like 4 times, set it on this, and then screwed it so this wouldn't be all twisted. I don't know if that made sense, but if you just screw it on, you're going to have, this is going to be all twisted, and I was trying to avoid that because I didn't want to pull anything out I had done in here. So this little thing comes in with your deep box. And again, I just drilled a tiny little hole and then screwed it in. One thing I did is when I set this up originally with just direct drill holes, I had a little slack in my chain and it was bothering me. So if you can see here, I had my husband, not a woodworker, use his router, and I got these steel plates. And this one has 4 holes in it that are about, I don't know, 1/2 inch long. And it allows me a little leeway to push the motor back a little bit if the chain stretches or get it past where I was going and still have a secure fit. On the underside, he did the router in deeper so that the bolt heads are flush. So it's sitting flush. To give you an idea of the switch I use, this is similar. This is one I ordered, but it only has 6 connectors. To do reverse, which this has the capability, I did 9. That you need 9 to be able to go forward and backward. And it toggles up, reverse. I have it turned off so I don't hit anything in error. These are what's called a jumper connector. And you start, I cut that off and then just used it straight. You start by connecting this. I bought these off Amazon to make it easy. And these are the jumper things I have linked from Amazon as well. I cut this, stripped that a little, and one went in one side after it's stripped. Goes in there, click it. If you click it, it'll hold it down. And then the wire that coordinates goes in here. And then there's a diagram that I'm happy to share that shows you what the motor comes with: a black, a yellow, a blue, a yellow, a black, a blue, a green, and a yellow. And it's a lot of complicated, but I had to write it out 5 or 6 times. And I think there's a diagram. It might be on my switch. I think actually I wrote it on the inside of that switch plate of exactly what's going where. But just to give you an example, it comes without these slide over. This goes to another one over here. And there's numbers, very important on the back of the switch. There's numbers that correspond with this map. The power cord is also coming in the back. There's the power cord. That is part of the wiring as well that goes to the switch and connects everything. This is the chain I got. Mainly, you just need a 40 roller chain. I got 3 feet. Wasn't necessary, but that was the shortest one I could find. And to cut it, to shorten it, you have to, I think I threw them away. One will be open. The other will look kind of like this, the other end. You have to file that down for, actually, it probably makes more sense to just file that one down and not that one. File this one down, and then you use a punch to get the pin out, and then you're left with 2 ends that look like this, and it'll come with the connector that you put in. This shows the connector pin in the chain that you fit through. And it's important that the clip you put in here to hold it that you have the solid end going the main direction of the chain when the motor's on. So the open end is down, the rounded end is up if the chain is going that way, reverse if your chain is going that way, which most of the time mine's going forward, so it's going that way. Okay, now in the category of this isn't quite done, I made a chain protector, which does matter and is important. I literally cut up a little priority mailbox that came in good shape with something. And so that way when it's running, there's no issue of anything getting caught in the chain. Okay, so now I will turn it on for you and show you. And before you tighten anything up, test your wiring. I had a little surprise popped and had to go flip a breaker. Because I'm me, and that's the kind of stuff that happens. So, all set up. All protected. I probably should add a little more electrical tape there. Markers on, and forward. Makes a tiny bit of noise. It does, I don't know if you can, it makes a little resistance noise when it goes through, but nothing horrible. I'll let you hear. This needs to be annealed, but I'll just run it through where it was prior. You can kind of hear that the motor makes this slightly little, I'm working, adjustment. And that's it. If something got stuck, I'd immediately stop it and see if it could spit it out for me in reverse. I don't plan on using the reverse much, but it's there. I can also, because it's on this board, if I need to turn it, this thing is heavy. I could have it going and be feeding and catching and feeding and catching. That's it.